Oh, goodness.
What is up, you guys? Welcome to another edition of the Play Out Loud DJ discussion with QSC. I am Kristen with our DJ Rocks over in the East Coast. I'm South. I am from Florida. Company name is RDJ Rocks. We've got the all-female DJ team. And I've got some kick butt ladies with me today. I've got Brandy and I've got Jess. So ladies, why don't you introduce yourself? Let's see, Brandy, I'll kick it over to you real quick.
Okay, I'm Brandy, but I go by DJ B Selecta. I'm supposed to have at DJ B Selecta. That's where you can find me. I'm located in Southern California, but I go all over the world. I'm a corporate and wellness DJ, but I'll DJ anything. And yeah, that's pretty much what I got going on.
So I'm DJ Jess. The 412 is for Pittsburgh, where I'm based out of, and I focus mainly on private events, corporate, anything creative, a lot of weddings. I love doing weddings, and basically in Pittsburgh, but any chance I get to travel for work is always a beautiful thing. So, and it's just,
hopefully we'll get you down in Florida soon. Fingers crossed.
Right.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers toast.
So we were talking a little bit behind the scenes, and all of us are kind of on the same page where like, this has kind of almost been a little bit of a blessing in disguise that a lot of our calendars have, kind of opened up a little bit. So we've been doing things outdoors, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. And then I also want to kind of go around and be like, let's just name something good, like hashtag something good, because this has been a very long road and everyone is kind of going through this in their own way. So if you guys are joining in with us, I'd love for you guys to put in the chat box something good, something positive, something you're grateful for, and hashtag something good. All right, Jess, you go first on this one.
So I love that you're doing this, Kristen. This is such a good thing to do something good, especially with how to start your day. I was just sharing with both of you behind the scenes, but my something good is the fact that I was able to get away this weekend with my best friend to a place called Geneva, Ohio. It's right on the border of Lake Erie. So we always do a best friends weekend every year away from our kids, away from our husbands. We love them, but you need some girl time. So we got a beautiful Airbnb with the best vibe. And then we just explored nature the whole time. We went kayaking on Lake Erie. I was telling B Selecta and Kristen that we did a meditation on the kayak, which I've never done. Highly suggest it. We were just exploring, all the different nature that they had to offer there. And I feel so grounded and so clear-headed after doing that. So there's something good. I got away. It was COVID safe, and I saw my best friend.
I love that. I know B Selecta loves that too, right?
Oh, I'm all about that. That sounds amazing, and I definitely want to try meditating on a lake. It's funny you bring that up. Today is my twins' 7th birthday today, so something good is that, like we talked about before, nature. We just went for a 2-hour hike today, and that's why I got this going on. And it was just beautiful to be outside, and that's something that we're doing all the time now, because what else is there to do? But in a way, it's been kind of like we spoke about, a true blessing, because nature is so healing, and you feel peace. I feel peaceful and grounded and calm, and I'm slowing down, and I'm looking at different flowers and plants, and I love water. We went to a waterfall, and so all of that stuff I think is just amazing. So definitely something good, like we spoke about, ladies, is that we are really, and I'm seeing a lot of other people too, we're getting outside and we're getting back in touch and getting grounded in nature, and I think that we need that. I think people really need that. So I'm very thankful we're getting that push to slow down and go outside and get grounded again. I really think it's good for us inside.
Yeah, it's crazy because, guys, we were talking about this behind the scenes and obviously we're sharing now, but the Kristen 6 months ago, if I would have heard these conversations, I would have been like, I'm too busy to go outside. I'm not going on a hike. I barely have time to go to the bathroom between DJing events, prepping for an event, something for an event. Like, I'm not going outside. Nature. No, I'll listen to a nature, Spotify playlist or something, but it's now 6 months here. And, Kristen now is like, I need to schedule my bike ride. If I don't get my bike ride, I'm going to be angry, Cool thing is at the beginning of our neighborhood, if I ride my bike down to the very front, we've got a trail that runs like I think it actually goes, I think it's 2 counties long. And I'll ride it 6 miles. There's like a little off kind of beaten path. I'll just kind of go off of that and it takes me right down to the little river. And I just love listening to it. It sounds so bizarre, but it works right now.
Where are you at? Are you in a Poco? Is that how you say it? What part of Florida?
Okay, so technically our warehouse and office is in Apopka, but I live in Altamont Springs, which basically our neighborhood backs up to the Wekiva Springs River.
Oh, cool. I love that.
Yeah. I think I want to try to go to the state park and rent a canoe and canoe the river with one of my DJs.
Yes, do it.
We'll see that like that's a lot of work. Like you got to do this, right? I just want to float an Instagram.
Nature and social media, is that breaking any rules for grounding?
I don't know. I feel like as long as I'm distant, I'm good.
But who cares?
That's funny. So are you guys doing any events right now?
I did my happening. I was so happy.
Yes.
2 Saturdays ago, and I got another one coming up. My very good friend owns a fitness studio out here in Southern California. Well, everything's gotten closed down. She reopened, and then they were telling her she had to close again because the numbers spiked, and she said, I can't do that again. So you know what she did? I love this girl. It's called Pedal Spin Studios. You got to check out their Instagram because the video's on there. She brought the entire studio out to the parking lot. Mm-hmm. They built a turf, a backdrop, and I'm DJing all the classes, and they go in the morning before it gets hot, and then they go in the evening. So they bring the whole studio out, and they do battle ropes and group fit and spin class, and I'm spinning. It was so much fun. We are far apart, but we're outside. And then they bring everything in when it's hot, and then at 5 o'clock, they bring it all back outside.
Is that it?
Look at that.
Yeah.
That was the first gig in a long time.
That's so cool.
Wow.
It was awesome. And everybody there, just however they felt about their safe, like some people were very conservative. Some people were, hugging, right? But it was all love. And it felt very, you could just be comfortable in however you felt because it felt very safe and welcoming. And to be around that collective energy, you guys know as DJs,
yes,
we love, right? To be around that collective energy again, gives me goosebumps right now.
Same.
Wow. Okay, so hold on. So, okay, now I have 2 questions. Well, first, let me go to Jess. Are you guys doing events?
Yeah.
Yes, girl.
Okay.
I had a wedding 2 weekends ago, and I have a wedding this Saturday. And I had a community block party scheduled, but they canceled that, which I can get into more later. But so I have a wedding this Saturday, and then I have a wedding next Friday, next Sunday. The following Saturday, I'm traveling to Deep Creek for a micro wedding.
Woo!
This is banging. It's interesting, because there's many things happening at weddings that either align or don't align with my personal boundaries. I love them. I am there for my couples. I am there to do what they want to do. I just have my own rules that I follow after I do an event. And so there's just that nervousness. And I just need to remind myself to review my boundaries, review my personal place with all of this, have that in my mind, and then go forth with how different things are now with the different practices I'm doing at weddings, with the additions that are now there, such as streaming receptions and ceremonies, which I am adding that onto a lot of packages. A lot of couples are loving that. And then I'm also specifically traveling places to do streaming as well. So yes, August is the month of money and energy, but also anxiety a little bit too. So
wow. So what would you say to the DJs out there who maybe are having some of the same concerns, even if you don't want to share those? Like, what would be some of your recommendations on like, how do I navigate that boundary of like, I want to go back to work, but like, I'm a little bit like, you know what I mean?
Okay. So I mean, do you want me to take this, or Brandy? Is it cool? I guess I'll just keep talking. I want to say hi to my friend Chriselda too. She's on the chat. That's who I went away with, and I'm doing her staff retreat as well coming up for her school. So I know where I stand with all of this. I'm a little bit concerned about myself and my family, but we're all in pretty good health. There's that small part of you that still worries that something could happen. It could transform to something that the numbers aren't telling you.
Yeah.
But my mom and dad, who I live about a mile away from, and I see them so much during the week, and they, my boys love them. They have the best relationship. They are older, and my mother does have some of those underlying issues that would make it worse. So I know that August is the month that I'm probably not going to see her as much. But if that kept going on into September and October, I would probably have to consider not working as much and just living with the fact that, I'm this many dollars short that month with extra money or with income, because that relationship is more to me. But I am good with knowing that, okay, for a month, I'm not going to see them. So you just got to figure out your personal stance, who surrounds you, how, your relationship with them, what you're willing to risk, what you're not willing to risk, what's important. And I know in my heart that that's what's important to me.
Yeah. Be Selecta, what about you? What's your kind of stance on that of going back to events?
Yeah, I love what you said, Jess. It's very right. You never know what someone's personal circumstances are. It's not just your belief systems. There's so many external factors to consider. So I do have some anxiety with that. But people, I like you said, Jess, I'm very firm. Not firm, but I know what my personal boundaries are because of my personal circumstances and the people around my little bubble, that I don't want to lose being able to come into my bubble because of something that I have done. Those relationships matter more. So I have to be extra careful as well because of my bubble and the conditions that are in that bubble. So, it is difficult, especially when someone asks you to do a gig and you want to be like, I'm not gigging yet, but they're obviously cool with it. But for the most part, I just explain that I have to be extra safe. I try and refer them to somebody else. And but if they give me a situation like Petal did, where I could be outside and I was comfortable in that circumstance, then I'm game.
Yeah.
Streaming anything. As long as I can feel safe, I'm game. And until I feel like, everything is calmed down and we're kind of all on the same page and we know what's going on and we're cool, then I just have to err on the side of caution for right now. And that's where I'm at also.
Yeah, so me personally, so for those of you who don't know, in Florida, I run a multi-op. So we have 8 to 10-ish DJs at any given time, depending on the season. And blessed that through this entire, phase or season, the weddings that I did have, they got postponed. So I was able to put all of my concentration in making sure all of our couples were taken care of. But now I am back going out in a couple weeks now. And I think really my only concern was that moment. And just to be clear, I pretty much do weddings. I don't do a lot of anything else outside of that. And so for me, my thought was, I just was having a little bit of like, I don't want 500 people coming up to me who have been drinking for multiple hours and then they get really, really close and no one's wearing a mask. And so, for me, I'm just like, hey, do you mind if I put out a sign that says like texture requests too, so that like I can report back and tell you how that goes. But I'm hoping that with the placement, like I'm up on a stage on a riser, I'll have my facade. And then the only time somebody should come up to me really is when they're taking requests. And so hopefully that might even be a little bit better too. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, definitely do the text request and have a sign about it too. That's what I did. And you just kind of create a different number. I forget the way to do that. Something with Google. Nate Nelson's on. What's up, Nate?
Hey, Nate.
And the facade, like you said, barrier. And then what I'll do is I'll block off my right side with my QSC monitor, and then I'll block off my left side with my lighting stand, and just kind of like pin myself in.
Oh, okay.
And then I can get out. You got to finagle like around the legs of the stand or the speaker, but it stops from people from coming around to you too. Because like you said, once they get some drinks in them and, the worry part of their brain is minimalized. They just, it's like there's no virus. It really, that's been my experience. We all can agree that there's been some articles coming out, some news reports that have been coming out about weddings and what's going on with them. So you just have to really be prepared for that.
Yeah, and I think too, like I'm not worried about the families that are coming because all of our couples I've talked to, they're basically quarantining together. So if they're going to the wedding, they all know each other, they have similar boundaries, like their families, like that. And but then I'm like this thing coming in. So I think it'll be fine.
How many people, Kristen, like any weddings you're talking about specifically coming up?
Actually, I can't remember, but I think she's actually logged in. Mercedes, if you're watching this,
Yeah.
remind me how many people you have coming to your wedding. I mean, it's a shindig. And what's pretty cool too is she has really planned this thing twice. The first time she was going to have a micro ceremony with just her family members and then just party later. And there was some kind of 125 people. And she's basically replanned the entire thing. And instead of having two venues, she's now having it at one venue where the ceremony is still going to happen with just like close family. And then they'll go off and take pictures. And then everybody else comes, an hour or so later for the party. So
interesting time.
I mean, to be very honest, one of the things I'm super pumped about is I bought 2 masks. So one is my sparkly pink glitter one that I'll wear well, actually I have 3 masks. So I'm gonna do my black one with my logo for setup. Then I'm gonna put the pink sparkly one on when it's like, I gotta be like professional. And then when it's dancing time, I got that LED mask. So
oh my God. You're doing mask changes.
Hey, listen, on August 15th, that will be my something good. I get to wear 3 masks. So
I love that.
I'm pumped. And I do think that there's a lot of people like my bride Mercedes who's tuning in that, their decision to do this is that, listen, my family is being safe and they feel comfortable and I'm ready to start my family.
Yeah. And they're allowed to make that decision. It's all personal. There should be no judgment. Everybody is different. That's the thing. You have to just be open-minded, be secure with yourself and what you do. Be open-minded. Don't hate. There is so much negative energy being spread through the internet and everywhere because of everyone's opinions are just like the only opinion.
That's it right there.
I'm not even going to go there, but you know what I mean? So Mercedes, your wedding is going to be amazing. You're going to have a great time and you have one of the best DJs.
Then don't even get it twisted because I do want to talk about how we're handling social media, but I will be posting. Yeah. So if anybody wants to go ahead and get offended, know to just shut me off on August 15th because we've been waiting on this day for I can't tell you how many years. And
I'm excited.
You know what I mean?
For you guys.
Oh, this is good. So what she's doing to keep safe is she's offering masks to all of her guests, all of the vendors, which obviously I'm a vendor. I'm wearing masks, and then she has sanitation stations. So
perfect.
I mean, I'm pumped. Like, let's go. But you know what? Speaking of family, because I do want to make sure that we talk about this a little bit because all of us are moms. And we thought that at some point this might have progressed to have gotten a little bit better. And we're kind of in a situation where it is what it is. And we have kids that need to go back to school, right? There definitely has been a lot of talk, amongst the parents that I know of like, what do we do? Is it virtual? Do we do hybrid? Is it full time? Like the decisions are all over the place. And just like for an event planner or a bride planning event, I feel like it's the same thing with parents. What to each his own, whatever you decide to do. For us, we decided for our kids, they're going to go hybrid. So part-time in school, the rest of the time out of school, and we'll make a decision in January if they get to go back full-time. But, I do think it has to do with state to state. So ladies, why don't you talk about that a little bit on, kind of what your state is doing and, your thought process of the kids going back to school.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
So I considered, I don't think there's one single right answer. Like you said, Kristen, everybody's situation is different. California has locked a lot of it down. The kids were given the hybrid option. I didn't elect for the hybrid option initially because I felt like they were jumping the gun on that in California. And I felt like they were going to take it away. And I didn't want to do that with my babies. And they did. They took it away. So everybody in California, as far as I know, the counties that I'm in, have to start virtually for sure. And then after that, once they feel like they've lifted that, then they can do the hybrid. My kids are going to go virtual till January. I went to go get them desks and try and like, we're going to do this. So let's just do this, embrace it. I got yoga mats. We're going to have little work areas. We're getting excited about it. And it is almost impossible to buy a desk anywhere. The lineup is crazy. But I just decided to like smile and be like, you know what? We're just going to do this. We're going to do our best with it every single day. And the only thing that, because it's a tough decision, right? I want my kids to be social. Mm-hmm. I know they miss their friends. And that aspect of school is so important. But then they're talking about them having to wear masks in the classroom and not going out for recess or lunch or anything like that. So I thought, well, maybe I can do a better job at home of giving them like a normal environment. And then I'll invite friends that they have over. And sometimes even while they're doing school. So we're just like, we're just trying to do our best and make it work safely. And I think that in every industry and in every circumstance, there's always a way to make it work safely, if that's what you need to do. So
yeah, what's Vicky saying? My husband is here and we still have 2 of our kids still in school. It's tough. Yes, Vicky, thanks for watching.
It's tough. It's tough for everybody.
It's interesting because I do think that like I'm always intrigued by hearing like the decision process behind everything. Like if we do, I will touch on one thing for a moment, and that when it comes to there are some people who are just very narrow-minded and can't see outside their own opinions. I'm the 100% opposite. I have my opinions, and then I'm so damn curious, like, be selective. What are you doing? Jess, what are you doing? How did you guys come up with that? Because like, what if you guys thought of something that I didn't? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you can help build.
Yes.
And that's super important, Kristen. I think that's really important. I've really been thinking about this, and I love these talks because I really think that this is where it's going to change, is where we just talk with each other, share what we know, what we believe, what we think, some facts, and I think that that's what's going to get things hopefully moving in the right direction as a unit. If we can just understand that there are a lot of different opinions out there, but there also is truth and there are facts, and we can together find those and still support each other.
Yeah.
Through all of this. We need that, especially as women.
And then there's circumstances, like everybody's physical and life circumstances are different. And I think that plays a factor too, right? Jess, what are you guys doing with the kids?
So we just found out, well, let me backtrack. I was 90% sure we were going to do virtual if it was an option. I just didn't feel comfortable with sending them back. And with being my own boss and having my company, I have the option to do that without not a lot of disruption to the everyday schedule. But East Allegheny School District, which is where I'm at, 20 minutes outside of Pittsburgh, just decided it's all virtual up until the end of October for every single student. And they're going to be providing them with Chromebooks. They may be delayed on that. So that decision was made for me. Basically, it was aligning with what I was thinking anyways. So with that said, now I'm just waiting for the teachers and the district to roll out the plan of how that's going to be done. I know it's going to be a mix of live and recorded instruction so that you don't have to be there at a certain time per se. You can always catch up later. I know that I need to get at least 2 hours of work done every day, at least 2 hours, but I'm also going to need to be there facilitating learning with them because they're in kindergarten and first grade. So that's just not something I can sit them down and say, here, go, let me know if you need something. With that said, I'm going to let the schedule speak to me because when this all happened before, I tried to plan a schedule and then I tried to execute it. And it didn't work like I saw in my head. So now I need to just kind of have certain things I want to do. I'm also going to be building a classroom. I was going to look for desks, Brandy, but now I know I better get on that. I had no clue.
RVs.
I mean, if anything, get a piece of plywood and prop that baby up. I mean,
I have DJ tables I could use too, but here where I'm at right now in my studio, I'm going to take part of this and make it their learning hub and just kind of make the environment for them. Then we'll come downstairs into the studio / classroom, and that'll be the space where they learn. So I'm hoping that plan at least works. And wow. I'm also considering looking to hire either a somebody with an education degree, somebody who's substitute teaching that's not comfortable, to come in maybe for just like an hour or two a week to facilitate that learning. Because although I have a master's in teaching, I am their mom. They are going to tell me things that they would not do in the classroom. So maybe someone comes in to help.
You have a master's in teaching?
Oh yeah, girl. I went back and thought I was supposed to do that. And I was still DJing on the side to like pay for it and stuff. Yeah. In special ed and L ed. I taught for a while before I got back into DJing.
You guys are super women. So, okay, so here's our situation. So I am stepmom. And so when we started this business, this year we're celebrating 10 years. Well, we, meaning I, but my husband has always been like ride or die, pushing me up the hill when I feel like coming. So don't get it twisted. You know, it was the decision that when he came on full time, that I would be the one that was working full time, and he would be like the half days to always get the kids to and from school in the mornings and the afternoons. And like, he would take that lead. And then if he needed me, I was here. So he's always kind of had that role. And, you know, fast forward, you know, the youngest is a freshman in high school and the oldest is a senior.
Oh.
And so, you know, it's 100% opposite because, you know, even when schools closed earlier this year, it was, you know, they did their thing. They still woke up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, did their thing. 2, 3 hours later, they were done. So, I mean,
yeah, first grade was hard to teach at home. I won't lie. First grade was a little bit. I had to their lessons.
I can't even imagine. I think I don't know if I would be in the mental state that I am now if I had to if I had to live through that plus have to teach first. I just don't know. I don't know. So like, you are some strong women. That's all I got to say on the other side of the screen.
Girl, you're running a big company at the same time. You know, my gigs are just my gigs. I don't operate a lot of DJs either. So if I had your responsibilities on the business side, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. There's no way. So talk about blessings and being thankful for something. I'm also thankful for that I didn't even have to make that choice between my work and my kids, because that's not an easy choice, but it's an easy choice, right?
Yeah, there wasn't an option. I had to run the business, and Mark was literally like, he would bring me in food, you know, for 10 hours a day. I'll tell you, and I'm kind of getting choked up thinking about this, is, you know, the hardest thing for me, I am literally going to cry. This is so embarrassing.
Whoa. Emotions are human. Do it.
Like, the hardest thing for me was knowing, because I feel all of our clients' pain, you know what I mean? I feel all of my employees' pain. And the hardest thing for me was absorbing all of that and figuring out, you know, how do I take care of hundreds of clients? And at the same time, you know, I have 6 to 10 full-time people relying on me to put food on their table, plus part-time people, and the other part-time they're in college. So to them, it is full-time. So you know what? We're going to go full circle to the beginning of this conversation. I had to find nature because there's no way that I could be the motivation and figure out and strategize and, you know, be the support system. And it's just.
That's a lot, girl.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure on you. And in a time where there are no answers, this has never happened
before. None. I mean, I can't wait to write a book. Y'all are going to be featured in it. Like, now we're looking, and like, so now what do we do? So, you know, we have these great conversations, and everybody across the US does things so differently, not only with their business, but states, the laws are so different. And so it's like, how do we not, like, what do we do right now? Like, I feel like I change my mind every other day, but you know, I almost want to ask, like, how are we riding out this storm? And is it the same for all of us? Are we a little bit different? Like,
I think I think everybody's different, and I don't have all the answers, and I'm certainly not trying to push any kind of agenda, because I'm just me. Like, you know, I know what I know. But what I will say is I've seen from, like, I come from Canada. I was born and raised in Canada, and my whole family's from Canada. So I've experienced a different type of country also in my life. And one thing I've seen from them in relation to what's happening here that I think matters is that their reaction and their planning and their system was streamlined. So it wasn't individualized, which I'm sure there's benefits to that, and I certainly respect that. But from my perspective, I saw the streamline of the healthcare and the reaction. They locked everything down, but so now they're in phase 2 of opening up all over because they're together on it. They're not, he's doing this and she's doing that and they're doing this and they're doing that and no one's communicating and the systems don't talk to each other because they're their own systems. And so, I mean, again, I don't have the I'm not a master's in economics. I don't have the education to back this up. This is just a simple person's opinion, but seeing a streamlined effort, I just feel like would really benefit us. So again, going back to these conversations and then things we can stand behind as a unit and move forward as a unit. I can't see us getting out of this any other way than if we don't come together and move forward together with a plan. Like, I don't know how else it's going to change. I don't know, how it's going to get any better, but I know businesses need us to open and I know people want to stay safe. And right now up there, both of those things are happening because they have a system and they have a plan. And where there's an outbreak, because when they opened up, they did start to get outbreaks, but there's like a targeted system to handle those. So I see it from a distance and it seems to be very well, like a well-oiled machine, like a great business. So like you as a business owner, Kristen, you can bring that streamline, like, okay, this is how we take all these people.
Oh, I will tell you, if you want to throw that in there, this actually does drive me insane that I don't feel like it's being ran as a bit. I feel like, because I'll talk to colleagues who are in, I think it's not Arizona, Montana, I don't know, somewhere where there's desert. I don't remember, but that way, maybe that way, it doesn't matter. And they're like, zero events with over 5 people. I mean, you talk about another circumstance where I would be like,
Yeah.
So
hard to sustain that. That's hard to sustain.
And so that's where I kind of feel like it's like, all right, for us, I feel like there's a tiny bit, of events on the calendar to keep the girls at least working. Everybody's bare bonesing it. And we're just kind of like, they ain't no ways, but we're riding it. We're riding it. I'm going to ride it as long as I need to. And like we said before, I think this is an opportunity where, you guys have all heard these quotes of, we have this opportunity and it's so grand that we get to redesign our lives. And like, I've been saying that for 4 months now, but I don't think I really believed it until now. And now I'm like, wait a minute. I actually do have extra time. And wait, I can say no to that now. I don't have to do that because that's always been the expectation. I can delete everything that's on my daily designer and everything in DJ Event Planner, and I can start out. I can rebuild what that looks like.
And I think rebuild is the right word. I think that everyone needs to. I think if there's anything that this has taught me is that we need a rebuild across the board, personally and otherwise, businesses, everybody. We just need a rebuild. Obviously, we weren't doing something right because pause got hit.
Well, and Jess, I'm going to throw it to you here in a second, but you talk about pause being hit. Do you guys feel like the first 90 days, it was like, I got this?
Oh, yeah.
And then when you realized it was going past 90 days, you're like, oh, someone's trying to teach us a lesson.
I remind myself all the time that someone's trying to teach. I'm trying to get the lesson. I'm like, okay. I'm listening. I'm ready.
Right? I'm over here meditating on a damn lake trying to get this lesson. You know what I mean?
That's why you were meditating on a lake, girl. But I'm hopeful for the future, Kristen and Jess. I really am. I'm hopeful that if we get the lesson, we stop fighting, we start talking caring about each other's problems, whatever they are, finding solutions that work for each other. And I know this sounds like, but whatever. I really think that things can get to not the way it used to be, but back moving, but better. I have to be hopeful because the rest is just depressing. So I'm hopeful that, we can move forward with these lessons.
Yeah, I like you, Brandy. I'm so happy we connected on this. I vibe with your energy super hard. So this is part of my lesson. This is like probably chapter 10, page 2.
Well, QSC did a good job of putting us together. So
yes, this is awesome.
For sure.
It's awesome.
Sometimes while we're sitting here talking, I stop and I think, and I'm like, oh my God, this is really still the current situation. It's like your brain is almost programmed to kind of like deal with such traumatic and unique events where it's like you're in it, but you're not fully in it. At least that's how I work. Like every now and then I'm like, this is really a conversation right now in my basement studio. It's nuts. And Kristen, it's funny that you should mention the 90-day thing, right? Like for 90 days, you're going to get it because that's kind of how I'm rolling with things right now is I can't look at the big picture. I can't look at next year at this time. I have to take it 3 months by 3 months. And that's like what I plan for, what I do. Like I do my bills for 3 months. I make sure all the money's in there to pay my bills. I make sure I know where I'm getting my income from which I've drastically, bare bones, reduced and figured out what can I live by. Take that where I was at before, that beautiful number, and then what can I take it down to and still be happy? So I know that I have to hit that number. So I plan for 3 months. Once those 3 months is up, like right now, it's the end of August is the end of my 3 month that I'd planned for. Then I have to reassess everything again. And then I figure out where we're at because things are changing so much every single day that it's like almost you can plan, but what if it changes again, either financially or what if I begin to get work? What if events, which now in Allegheny County, which is the county that surrounds Pittsburgh, and then there's all kinds of other little counties around it. Allegheny's at 50 outside, 25 inside. Any county besides Allegheny is 250 outside. So that's a big difference, right? And at any moment that could change to 10 people. So a lot of brides or a lot of couples are taking their weddings from Allegheny County, finding a venue nearby, Westmoreland County, Butler County, all those little sub counties in Pittsburgh, surrounding areas. So I'm just planning for now, knowing, what I can do. I'm focusing on the add-on of streaming, ceremonies and receptions. Like I mentioned, that's where I've gone now is the active work, being COVID friendly with the active work, and then adding on this streaming package that I was thinking about in like May, but I didn't put it into full force until the 3 month thing hit. So 3 month by 3 month, girls. That's how I'm rolling over here, man. I'll talk to you in September.
So Ern has a question. Ernie, he says, you've been doing events recently with small gatherings. Do you get tested shortly after? Jess, are you doing that? And would you mind sharing, any of your process?
Actually, I was just talking to DJ Dana out of Columbus 2 nights ago, and she had mentioned with my busy schedule this month that I should get tested right afterwards. I have not yet. That wedding that I did 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, I just didn't go around anybody. I just stayed home with my kids and my family, and they followed suit. We just decided to do it that way. I didn't even think about that until Dana mentioned it. I'm like, oh, you're right. I can go get tested. So the plan is, because I don't have time between events now, because they're back to back, yeah, I'm going to be going to get tested after, this Saturday's wedding for sure. And do I have anxiety about it? You better believe that it's worth it and we'll do it. But like,
What about you, B Selecta? After that event, did you do anything okay, yeah.
I didn't, but also testing's a thing. Like my girlfriend got tested and it took 15 days to get her test results. So staying home is, but my bubble's tiny. So I did the same as Jess. Like I'm just home with my kids because I was outside and I wasn't really around anybody, I felt like I was pretty safe, but I haven't been doing back to back events. I've really been with my kids at my house, or we're somewhere outside, like the beach, not around people, or hiking and, just passing by.
So somewhat of kind of self-quarantining-ish.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah. Because I don't know what testing's like where you guys are at, but it's not.
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrendous. And, I'll share with you guys because now I'm far enough down the road that I don't think that it's going to affect anyone. guys, this is literally insane. Because there was a point in time where my brain just went into a tunnel and I'm like, I got to go survival mode. Everyone needs my help. I need to do all the things. And so like, we were like, okay, so we need to look at every event that we have that is still happening. I need backup for every single day. I need a DJ backup, a photo booth backup. I was like, I need to have every single staff member like send in a pre-check form prior to every single event. So like I automated an email from DJ Event Planner that sends it to them 24 hours. They have to temperature check at home and submit a form. And if they are showing any, I'm talking like if you sneezed, you're out. Like I'm taking you off the event.
Yeah.
And, you know, none of them fought me on that. And even one of our team members, she has really bad allergies. And she called and she goes, I think it's my allergies, but if you want to take me off the event, I was like, I'm taking you off the event. And what I will say is, you know, knock on wood, there has not been, I don't even want to say it out loud, but we have been very blessed. There's been nothing negative that has come back. You know, I'm not worried about my staff from that perspective. But we're not doing tests afterwards. In the very beginning, we did have 3 scares, 2 team members who showed symptoms, not from an event, from somewhere else. And by the time they got their results back from testing, they were already outside of the time frame of not showing symptoms. So, you know, I think, again, this goes back to, I think right now, you know, something somewhere is telling us we have an opportunity to kind of rewrite things. And I think this is where that is. I think when it comes to schools, when it comes to us choosing to do events, you know, I think to each his own. I know DJs who are literally testing the second they get back from an event. I personally, my opinion is I don't agree with that, because I have done the research and I have seen that it could take 3 days for something to show up. So if I were to choose to do that, I would wait at least 3 days.
Okay.
But again, things change every single day. At one point they were like, test, test, test. Now I'm seeing things where the CDC is like, well, don't test until you see signs. So I think there's just got to be a certain level of comfortability for everyone. And it's to each his own.
Yeah. You like about me,
Kristen.
I want
super safe. Sorry, Jess. Go ahead.
No, you're cool. I want to think about it a little bit more actually now. I felt like I almost had to give that response to be completely transparent with you guys. You know, I was like, yeah, I guess I should. You know what I mean? Like, crap, here I am like live on Facebook and stuff, talking about that. I need to think about it, to be honest with you, a little bit more, and just trust myself in what I decide to do with that. I don't know. I mean, crap, that's an intense thing to think about. Do you get tested? Do you wait to have symptoms? You know, when will the results come back?
Well, and it's a lot. It's definitely a big giant decision. And I don't think that there's one answer for that. You know, Ernie says where he's from, they're turning results around in 3 days. Vicky says she got hers in 48 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, depends on what state you're in. You know, are you going straight to the hospital? I know in Florida, they will not let you in the hospital unless you are like, you are severe. So for us, the only way I would be able to get a rapid test in 24 to 48 hours is if I was like really bad. I don't know what really bad means in like medical terms, but
go back to the Canada thing, but that's where I grew up.
Yeah.
And just the streamlining of the system and how it can benefit sometimes at 12 to 24 max test results, 12 to 24 hours.
Wow.
The system is already established. So the information is shared instantly.
Wow.
So there's benefits to things.
Yeah. Vicky says
we got to build a better system.
Yeah.
So that we can all be healthy and happy and fruitful.
One thing I will say, and I want to point out, Vicky said she was in an urgent care in Georgia. I will say that I have heard, and it's not just in my state, that test results are coming back quicker from an urgent care. So, you know, just something to think about as we all are kind of going back to work, not going back to work, starting to, you know, maybe kind of go outside of our bubble and be around people. I definitely have my backup plan of like, this is what I fully intend, like, husband, this is what you need to do. You know what I mean? I do want to touch on one more thing, because I think that there's some sensitivity going on in our world of like, what do we share? What do we not share when it comes to social media? I know a lot of people aren't comfortable right now with posting, if they are doing an event or whatnot. So let's just talk about that for a minute. Did you post at all when you were at your wellness event? Did you post anything?
I absolutely did. I absolutely did, because I was very confident in what it was, and it was I thought it was happy, and it was important, and it was people, because health matters too. I mean, that's a factor of all of it. So if you really want to talk about lessons, I mean, we should really examine our personal health as well. I'm not saying that's the answer, but it's always important. So I felt, yes, I did post that. I will say that prior to that event, I hadn't had any events, but I don't think there's any harm in sharing what you're doing. At the same time, I definitely felt the heaviness that's going on in this world and in this country. I don't know how you couldn't. And I mean, I come from an interesting perspective because, I'm going to put my business out there, with everything that's going on in the world. My husband is a Black man, and he's also a police officer, and I've got babies. So I feel a lot of what's going on, and I'm not from this country originally. So I'm an immigrant, if you want to talk about it that way. So there's a lot of perspectives that I share with a lot of people, and I can empathize with every single side of the story. So it was hard for me to be super positive, because there's heavy things going on and heavy conversations going on. So, but I still think joy and happiness and music, I mean, that's what we're doing as DJs. That is why we do what we do. And I think it would be a shame not to share that.
Thank you for that. Wow.
Yeah. We could do it. I mean, that could be a whole nother live.
Yeah, we'll go a whole nother live. Jess, what's your opinion on, sharing when you're DJing? Because
what she said. I like what she said, what Brandy said. So, the wedding that I just did, I didn't share because I was just that busy that I didn't have time to go down and take pictures and share and everything. It wasn't that I didn't want to, but an event before that, which was an 8-year-old's birthday party that I did with my son, I did share that. I felt that it was okay to share that. The kids were so happy. It was such a small event. There was just so much good energy there that I wanted to put it out, plus I had my son come with me, which was super cool. So I shared that as well. But for the wedding coming up this weekend, I didn't even really think about the fact that that might make guests look a certain way to other perspectives and maybe cause judgment. I am learning a lot about myself during this time and my instincts and my gut. And what I'm going to say is I'm not going to make a decision until I'm there in the moment, because I'm able to respond to certain environments with such a strong instinctual feeling that I'm going to see what the day is. And then I'm going to make my decision if it's a good thing or not to share. I'm just going to have to be in the moment. I can't answer about
That's a great idea.
That's like one of the main things I'm taking out of this time right now.
Yeah.
Is know myself and getting to trust myself and all of the different things that make up Jess. And that's one of them, is that my instincts are usually pretty on when it comes to stuff like that. So
we love the things about Jess. We already know all the things that you're learning.
Right?
I think that's great advice. And if there's anything for those of you are watching who are wondering, like, what should I do? How should I post? Do I test? Do I do this? How am I sending my kids back to school? Just like DJ B Selecta said, like, I don't think there's a rule book. I think we all have to take, the different perspectives, have great conversations with each other, learn from each other, look at our environment and say, okay, what makes the best sense for me? Even if it comes down to the social media stuff, you know what I mean? I will, hey, run that. I will tell you guys, I'm going to be documenting everything at Mercedes' wedding. Whether I post in the moment or not, I'm not sure, because I also want to be respectful of not only her friends and family, I want to be respectful of all the things. And I just think that maybe right now, if there's one lesson we can take out of today's live, is that what all of this has taught us is we do need to slow down. And so maybe the answer for right now is, in any decision that we make, let's just slow down and think it through. and then we can figure out what makes the most sense, I guess, right?
And I think surrounding yourself with like-minded perspective. I mean, you always have to be open, but like when you decide about like, okay, when do I need to bounce ideas off to, like having those similar vibes to discuss things with that are also open-minded for me.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you
guys have anything else you want to add before we start wrapping up?
I just think it's important we keep talking. I think it's important we keep talking and we understand that we're better together, and if we can keep talking and unite and get moving, then a lot of these problems we're having won't be problems anymore, and we don't have to worry about whether we can post what we're doing.
Yeah. I want to jump through the screen and just like be with both of you right now. Who's got that mad?
Oh my gosh, ladies, I
fully don't want to hug me right now.
It doesn't matter. I'll take any kind of hugs, right? Ladies, thank you so much for being here today. It's always the highlight doing this with you guys. QSC, thank you again so much for having us. For those of you tuning in, make sure that you are always checking in with QSC. Make sure you hit the like. We always try to post when we have upcoming videos and going live. And honestly, it's real talk. When we did this in the beginning of quarantine, we made agendas and, we were teaching you guys tons of things. And, now I just think it's important for us to just look at the real life events and what's going on and just have an open conversation about it. Cause I think that's what it's about. Right. So QSC, thank you so much. Everybody tuning in. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm going to end this by saying, if you scroll back to the beginning of this video, I need you guys to comment, if you haven't already, something good. So tell us something positive, something that you're grateful for, something, anything. And then I want you to hashtag it something good. Once again, I'm Kristen down in Florida, our DJ Rocks. We've got DJ Jess and we've got DJ B Selecta on all platforms. Guys, thank you so much.
Bye, ladies. Bye. Stay up, okay?